So I've had a bunch of people contact me trying to set these machines up. And the problem is when they get them, they don't know how to put anything in the computer and things like that. So I'm going to go over that today. So this will help you to jumpstart your whole platform when you get this machine. It's the LT70 Super. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the main menu. And this is going to give us all these different options. When you first get it, if you're planning on making certain patterns, what we're going to look at is you can go down here to pattern, what pattern is, which is this. You see this icon here, it's the same thing that's back at the home, and it's this here. And what that means is when you put it into this mode, it's going to cut the cant or whatever you've made straight down into this, all the way down to the bed frame, and it will automatically make your last board 1 inch and 5/32 if that's what you've set it to. Now to set this, you're going to go over here to this, and you're going to hit the little circle icon. Like I said, we're going to scroll down till we hit auto mode settings, and then you're going to click this. And then you're going to go down to pattern, because that's the first thing we're going to set. You're going to hit pattern. Now you can see here, I've got this set to 1 1/8 pretty much all the way down. Now I make the bottom one about a 32nd thicker or whatever. You guys can make it to whatever you want, just depending on how much variance you want to have in there. But when you get this set to what you want, but let's say I want to change one of them. All I do is go to whichever one I want to change. See, when you scroll this up and down, it moves that up and down. What you're going to do is you're going to click the one you want to change. It'll turn green, just like it right there. And then you can spin the knob whichever way you want to make it bigger, smaller. And then you push it in to turn it yellow. And then before you back out, if you want to save it to whatever you're wanting, you save it here. That's an old floppy disk. But anyway, that's how you save it. And that way, if you shut this machine off, it doesn't lose what you've set it to. Because if you don't save it in here, then it will clear these out and put them back to whatever the original setting was. Then you can back out. Now there's 16 of them in each setting. So if you look at this log here, if I flipped it over and I wanted to cut it all the way down consecutively into 1 1/8 boards, I would go to this and hit pattern, and then when I hit pattern, it automatically is at 1 1/8 all the way down. So when I flip that log over on the flat side and I hit this computer, it's going to automatically take my head to wherever I need to be at to perfectly cut that down. Now you want to start your head above the log, so you'd want to have your head sitting above the log before you ever set this in, because if you're sitting halfway down on the log, that's where it's going to reference from, and it's going to cut it from there straight forward, and you'll have a big chunky slab off the top. But if you start above, it will automatically bring the head down to wherever you're at. And I'm going to show you that right here so you guys can see what I'm talking about in a minute. But before we do that, just remember that's pattern mode. And if we go into pattern, we can set this at pattern. Like I said, we've got 16 different ones. So I can hit one right here, which is this icon right beside the arrow. This isn't touchscreen. But when you hit one, you can hit one again, and it goes to B, C, D. Now what that's given us is 4 different settings for pattern in the first mode. And then if we go to 2, we've got the same thing. There's A, B, C, and D on each of them. And what that gives us the ability to do is when we go back out, if we want to cut it down to something different, we can scroll through those icons by hitting 1. There's 1B, 1C, 1D. It's just multiple different patterns inside the computer, and you've got 4 of them on each one. and 4 of them inside each one. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can set those to make cross ties. You can set them to make whatever you want, and it'll be saved in there. You can put 5/4, 8/4, whatever you'd like. Now, let's say that you understand the pattern mode. This icon here. So these people, a lot of people get this one and this one mixed up on what they do. What this is for is, let's say you've got a log and you're starting it. All this is for is to know exactly where you started at. So let's say I had just cut my slab off the top of this. Let's say I come through there, and as I'm coming through, I hit this auto down button right here. What that's going to do, this one, just the single arrow, what that's going to do is when I'm coming through that, it knows to automatically go down again exactly from the position where that log flat is. So when I come back and hit the icon, the trigger on the back of this handle here, which is set on the back, it's going to automatically drop down and make the next board 1 inch and 1/8 as many times as I hit this. And I can also set different ones in here. So like for instance, I've got 1A, 1B, C, D, all these different ones in here I've got set to whatever I want it to go down to. Now, what this will not do is it will not sequence your bottom board. So if you try to use this to cut a log all the way down, you're going to end up with a miscut on the very last board. If you're going to cut a cant all the way down or to a certain point, you need to use the auto pattern mode. And what that does is it makes your head sequenced with the bottom rail. Now when you use just the auto mode, it does not know where the bottom rail is. All it knows is that you want to make 1 more cut or 2 more cuts or 3 more cuts from the exact spot that you push this. And I'm going to show you guys that in a log, but like I said, on this you can go into it for your auto mode, and you can hit auto mode and go to down, and then you can set those to whatever you want, just like you could for your pattern. And that gives you 16 different settings for your auto mode to go down to whatever point you want. But just remember, it doesn't know where the bottom of the bed rail is. All it knows is it's going to go down whatever you set it to. So if I'm going through the log and I hit this, it's going to automatically go down the next time to 1:27:30 seconds each time I hit this button. Now, when you're in a log and you're cutting, and once they put the fuel up here, I'll show you that. But once you're in a log and you're cutting, you have to kick these out to go between them. Or, when you're hitting this, you can't go through here. You can go through here and find whatever you want. So let's say the first cut you make, you're coming through that log, you set auto down, which is this. When you go back, let's say the first one, you hit 1 1/8 inches. Well, then let's say that you wanted to make 5/4 or an 8/4 board. You can just hit something else and switch between it, and then it'll go down again to whatever you set it to. So you don't have to kick it out for that. But you need to get in a habit of when you're sawing and you get back that you kick it out and you're not trying to go down again without switching your modes, because each time you're going to switch your mode to whatever you want. And I'm going to show you that here. Let me get them to put the blade tension on. Hey, put blade tension on that. I'm going to finish this log, but I'm just showing them so they can see. You don't have to worry about it. Just go ahead and take lunch. And that way Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to shave the top of this so you can see, and I'll show you, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. So for instance, when I get up here to the top of this log, I'm just going to shave it and pretend like there's a slab there. So what I would do here is, because I'm not going to cut it all the way down, I would just hit auto down, which is the single arrow. It's the single arrow, which is the second one up. Now I'm going to bump it up, and then when I go back, it automatically knows to go down 1 inch and 1/8. So then I'm going to come through it, as you can see here. You can see it's set to automatically go down 1 1/8 inches, and there's my board right there. So it went down 1 1/8 inches. Now, I'm not going to saw it all the way down with that icon, which is that one right there, which is the one I just used. That's auto down. That's just for making the next cut. It's not for pattern or anything like that. Now, I'm going to use this icon when I flip it over, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to flip this over like that, and I know that I'm going to saw it all the way down. This is just for you guys to demonstrate so you understand. So I know that I want to saw it all the way down. Now you can see that my blade is above the log. So I'm going to hit this, and I want to make 1 1/8 boards all the way down. So you can see here that I've set it to do that with the bottom pattern mode that I showed you. So this is how it works. This is what it'll do. It automatically knows where to set my head. So I just need to get it to where it's going to go in the perfect spot. Now it'll just consecutively saw all the way down to the bottom of that log, all the way to the bed rails, a perfect 1 1/8 inch board in every board. So just remember the difference between pattern and auto down. And I've had a bunch of people contact me, and so if this is still confusing, just comment at the bottom of the video. I'll do my best to clear it up, but it's super important that you understand the difference, and this will speed your time up of when you get to saw. And you can set in those pattern modes, you can set, you know, to have a 7 at the bottom and then a 9, and that way you can make your 7 and 9 cross ties, and then you can just click back and forth. Always get your 9 first and then get your 7, and that way if it won't make a 9 on the other side, you've already got it. But anyway, I hope that helps you guys, and hopefully that will clear up a lot of confusion and also help you with knowing what to do and how to set your woodmizer computer up.